Why does a $1,000 phone feel like a good deal, but a $5 coffee feels like a ripoff? The answer is that your brain likes to do weird tricks, essentially. Let me tell you about an experiment from the 70s. Some scientists got a bunch of students in a room and they had this roulette wheel, but this wheel was actually rigged. It could only land on two different numbers, 10 or 65. So the wheel spins, lands on a number, and then they ask the student a totally random question like, hey, what percentage of African countries are in the UN? Random question. Now this is where your brain ends up breaking. The students who saw the roulette wheel, which landed on the number 10, their average guess was 25% to that question. But the students who saw the number 65, when their ball landed on 65 on the roulette wheel, their average guess was 45%. So let that sink in. The number on the wheel had nothing to do with the question. They knew it was random, but the first number they saw actually completely hijacked their brains. It pulled their guess way up or way down on average. They thought, okay, maybe that was a fluke. This is what the scientists thought. So they did another test. They asked one group a ridiculous question. Did Gandhi die before or after the age of 144? Ridiculous question. Everyone knows that's impossible logically, but as we know, behavioral science and persuasion isn't actually logical. But when they asked that group to guess his real age of death, their average guess was 67. Then they took a second group and asked another crazy question. They said, did Gandhi die before the age of 9? And this group's guess was around 50. So a completely fake, impossible number that people would know is wrong shifted the final answer of both of those groups by almost 20 years. That's insane. But this brain bug, or this brain hack, which I'm talking about right here, is actually called the anchoring effect. It's a fancy way of saying the first piece of information you say, the anchor, totally skews everything that comes after. And it's used on you every single day. It's why a $99 supplement that costs $5 to make feels like a good deal. And it's why that $1,000 phone seems normal. And the best example is car dealerships, actually. They don't expect you to buy that 70,000 SUV in the showroom. That's actually just the anchor, right? They put it in there so when they show you the 45,000 car, it suddenly feels quite reasonable because it's next to the $70,000 anchor. It feels like a smart choice, but it only feels that way because your brain is anchored to the 70 grand that you saw before. And this isn't a new trick, by the way. This has been exploited by businesses for a long time now. So a kitchen store called Williams Sonoma, I hope I'm saying that right, made a fortune with this by accident. They were selling a bread maker for $275. Nobody was actually buying it. It just sat there. So what did they do? They put a slightly bigger bread maker right next to it for $429. And guess what happened? Almost nobody bought the expensive one, but sales for the $275 one actually exploded, right? Why? Why is that the case? Because next to the $429 bread maker, a $275 bread maker suddenly looked like a steal. It's the same product at the same price, but the anchor, the $429, changed absolutely everything. So now you know how anchoring works and you're a little bit trained on behavioral science and psychology there, you can use it in your pricing to make your main offer feel like a no-brainer. But fixing your pricing with an anchor is great, but it's actually only half the battle. Once you get them to see your price as a great deal, you actually have to get them to buy. And this is where most people mess it up. They slap a fake countdown timer on their page, thinking it creates urgency. But here's the new problem. Your customers are actually smart. They can smell fake urgency a mile away. And when they feel manipulated, the brain has a reaction that basically makes them want to do the opposite of what you want. So instead of tricking people, you need to use real urgency. I have a video that breaks down the 3 rules for creating it, which can triple your sales without actually destroying customer trust. You can click this video right here and I'll see you over there. See you in the next video.